The kiss landed like a slap I never saw coming. 1 second Ethan was laughing, splashing me in the face. The next his lips were on Tyler's, deep, unapologetic, right there in the shallow end. I stood at the edge of the pool, water dripping from my hair, chlorine stinging my eyes, and everything inside me just stopped. The summer sun beat down on the backyard in suburban Portland, Oregon, turning the water into liquid gold, but all I could feel was ice. My best friend since freshman year of high school, Ethan Hayes, the guy who dragged me through every awkward phase, every bad breakup, mine mostly, every late-night drive blasting music, was making out with Tyler fucking Reynolds. The same Tyler who'd been hanging around our friend group for months, always a little too close, always smirking like he knew something I didn't. I didn't scream. I didn't run. I just watched, heart hammering so loud it drowned out their muffled laughter when they finally broke apart. Ethan's eyes found mine over Tyler's shoulder. For a split second, something flickered there, panic, maybe guilt, but then he grinned, that easy, golden boy grin that usually made everything okay. "Dude," he called, voice light like nothing had happened. "You gonna stand there all day, or jump in?" I turned and walked away, bare feet slapping wet concrete, past the barbecue still smoking with half-eaten burgers, through the sliding glass door into the kitchen where Ethan's mom was chopping fruit for dessert. She smiled at me, oblivious. "Alex, honey, you okay? You look pale." I mumbled something about needing the bathroom and kept going up the stairs to the guest room I'd crashed in 100 times. Door shut, locked. I slid down against it, knees to chest, and tried to breathe. How long had this been going on? Weeks? Months? Had every movie night, every gym session, every stupid inside joke been a lie? Ethan had always been the straight one, the one girls chased, the one who dated cheerleaders in high school and laughed off any rumor with a shrug. I'd buried my own feelings so deep I'd almost convinced myself they weren't there. Almost. But seeing him kiss Tyler, it ripped the lid off everything I tried to ignore. I stayed in that room for what felt like hours. Phone buzzed. Text from Ethan. "Where'd you go?" "You good?" "Bro, come back. Tyler's leaving soon." I didn't reply. Eventually, the house quieted. Car door slammed. Music faded. I heard Ethan's footsteps on the stairs, then a soft knock. "Alex, open up." I didn't move. "Come on, man. Talk to me." Silence. He sighed against the door. "I didn't mean for you to see that. I shit. I'm sorry. Sorry." The word landed like a pebble in a still pond. Ripples, but no real change. I finally spoke, voice hoarse. "How long?" A pause. "A couple months. It just happened. Does anyone else know?" "No. Just you now." I laughed, bitter. "Lucky me." "Alex, go away, Ethan." He didn't. He sat outside the door for another hour, talking softly about how confused he'd been, how he'd fought it, how Tyler had been the first person to make him feel like it was okay. I listened, hating every word because it mirrored everything I'd felt for him since junior year. The difference? I'd never acted on it. I'd never risked our friendship. Eventually he left. I cried then, quiet, ugly sobs into my sleeve, because the truth hurt more than the kiss ever could. I wasn't just losing my best friend to another guy. I was losing the illusion that maybe, someday, he might look at me the way he'd looked at Tyler. The next morning, I packed my bag before anyone woke up and drove home to my mom's small apartment in Beaverton. She was at work, so the place was empty. I dropped onto the couch and stared at the ceiling. I had to decide what came next. Pretend nothing happened? Confront him? Walk away for good? I chose none of those. Instead, I texted him one line: "We need space." His reply came fast. "How much space?" I didn't answer. That was the beginning of the silence that stretched through the rest of July. Summer dragged on in that heavy, humid way Oregon summers sometimes do. Sunny one day, rainy the next, never quite committing. I avoided Ethan's neighborhood, skipped group hangs, ignored invites to lake trips. My mom noticed but didn't push. She'd always given me room when I needed it. Work kept me sane. I bartended 3 nights a week at a dive near campus, pouring cheap beers for grad students and locals. The noise drowned out my thoughts. One night in early August, the guy slid onto the stool at the end of the bar, tall, dark hair, easy smile. He ordered a whiskey neat and watched me mix drinks for an hour before speaking. "You're quiet tonight," he said. I shrugged. Long week. Long summer. I met his eyes. Brown, warm, curious. "Yeah." He introduced himself as Marcus. 23, graphic designer, new in town from Seattle. We talked between orders. Music, bad movies, Portland's obsession with food trucks. He didn't flirt aggressively. He just stayed. When my shift ended, he waited outside. "Want company on a walk home?" he asked. I hesitated, then nodded. We ended up on a bench by the Willamette, sharing a late-night coffee from a cart. He told me about coming out in high school, the fights with his dad, the eventual uneasy truce. I listened, envying how casually he owned his story. "I haven't told anyone," I admitted finally. "Not really." Marcus didn't push. "You don't have to. But when you do, pick people who deserve to know the real you." I thought about Ethan, about the kiss, about how I'd let years of unspoken feelings poison everything. Marcus walked me to my door. "No kiss, no pressure. Just see you around?" "Yeah," I said. "I'd like that." After that, we texted, met for coffee, saw a movie. Nothing serious, but it felt possible. Like maybe I could exist outside the shadow Ethan cast. Then Ethan showed up at the bar on a Thursday night. He looked rough, hair longer, eyes tired. He sat at my station and ordered a soda. "Can we talk?" he asked when the crowd thinned. I wiped the bar, avoiding his gaze. "I'm working." "After," I sighed. "Fine." We ended up on the same bench by the river. The water reflected city lights. Ethan stared at it like it held answers. "I broke up with Tyler," he said quietly. I blinked. "Why?" "Because it wasn't right. Not when I couldn't stop thinking about how much I hurt you." My chest tightened. That's not a reason to break up with someone. It's a reason to figure myself out. He turned to me. "Alex, I've been an idiot. I knew how you felt. I think I've always known, and I used that. Kept you close without giving anything back. Then when I finally admitted I might be gay, I ran to the first guy who made it easy." I swallowed hard. "So what now?" "I don't know. I just miss you. My best friend. The guy who knows all my stupid secrets." I wanted to believe him. Wanted to forgive. But the image of that kiss still burned. "I need time," I said. He nodded. "Okay, but I'm not going anywhere. Not unless you tell me to." He left. I stayed on the bench until the cold drove me home. The next week, my mom sat me down at breakfast. "You're different lately," she said. "Happier, maybe, but also sadder." I poked at my eggs. "It's complicated." She reached across the table. "You know you could tell me anything, right? I've loved you since the day you were born. Nothing changes that." Tears pricked my eyes. I hadn't planned to say it, but the words came anyway. "Mom, I'm gay." She didn't flinch, just squeezed my hand. I figured, and I'm proud of you for saying it. We cried together, hugged, talked until the coffee went cold. For the first time in years, I felt lighter. Fall semester started. I threw myself into classes, psychology major, junior year, and avoided the old friend group. Marcus and I kept seeing each other. Casual dates turned into something steadier. He made me laugh. He listened. He didn't demand I define what we were. Ethan respected the space, mostly. Occasional texts, checking in, sharing memes, nothing heavy. I replied politely, but kept distance. Then came homecoming weekend. My mom insisted I go to the game. "You can't hide forever," she said. I went, sat in the stands with Marcus. Halfway through the third quarter, I spotted Ethan on the field. He made varsity soccer back in high school and still played alumni pickup games during events. He looked up, saw me, and waved. After the game, he jogged over, sweaty and grinning. "Hey," he said, glancing at Marcus. "Good to see you here." Marcus extended a hand. "Marcus, nice to meet you." Ethan shook it, polite but stiff. "Ethan, Alex's friend." The word hung awkward. We made small talk. Then Marcus excused himself to grab drinks. Ethan watched him go. "He's good for you." "Yeah," I said. "He is." Silence stretched. "I miss you," Ethan said quietly. "Not just as friends. I think I messed up big time." My heart stuttered. "Ethan, I know you're with someone now. I get it. but I needed to say it. I've spent months figuring myself out, and the one constant is you. Always has been. I looked away. The stadium lights buzzed overhead. You hurt me. Badly. I know. And I'll spend as long as it takes making it right. If you'll let me. Marcus returned then, 2 sodas in hand. He sensed the tension, but smiled anyway. We said goodbyes. Ethan walked off with the team. That night, Marcus and I lay on my couch watching some dumb Netflix show. You still love him, Marcus said. Not accusing. Just stating. I sighed. Part of me does. But another part knows he's chaos. Marcus kissed my forehead. You deserve steady, Alex. Not fireworks that burn everything down. He was right. But knowing it didn't make the ache go away. The next month blurred. Midterms. Work. Dates with Marcus. Texts from Ethan that I answered less and less. Then the twist came in a phone call from Ethan's sister, Mia. Alex, she said, voice shaking. Ethan's in the hospital. Car accident. He's okay, but he was drinking. He asked for you. I froze. When? Tonight. Please come. I drove to the hospital in the rain. Found him in a private room, arm in a sling, face bruised. He looked up when I entered. You came. Of course I did. He tried to smile. Stupid, right? Thought a few beers would help me forget how much I screwed up. I sat beside the bed. You could have died. I know. Tears welled. I'm sorry, Alex. For everything. For Tyler. For pretending. For not seeing what was right in front of me until it was too late. I took his hand. You need help, Ethan. Real help. He nodded. I'm checking into rehab next week. Voluntary. I want to fix this, me mostly. I stayed until visiting hours ended. When I left, he whispered, I love you. Always have. I didn't say it back. Not yet. Rehab took Ethan off the grid for 90 days. No phones, limited visitors. I focused on my life, classes, Marcus, coming out to a few close friends. Each confession felt like shedding weight. Marcus and I grew closer. He met my mom. She loved him. We talked about moving in together after graduation. But Ethan stayed in my head. The hospital promise. The I love you. When he got out in December, he texted, coffee, no pressure. We met at a quiet cafe near campus. He looked different, clearer eyes, steadier hands. Sober. Thanks for coming, he said. You sound better. I am. He sipped black coffee. Therapy's kicking my ass, but in a good way. I learned a lot about why I ran for myself. Why I hurt you. I waited. I was scared, he continued. Scared of losing my family, my friends, my identity as the straight golden boy. So I pushed you away by choosing someone else. Classic avoidance. I nodded slowly. And now I know what I want. But I also know I don't deserve a second chance unless I've earned it. We talked for hours. About everything. High school, the pool, Tyler. They hadn't spoken since the breakup. Rehab, Marcus. He's good to you? Ethan asked. Yeah, really good. I'm glad. He sounded like he meant it. You deserve that. We parted with a hug. Awkward but real. Over the holidays, Ethan went home to his family. I spent Christmas with mine and Marcus. New Year's Eve, Marcus and I went to a party. Midnight kiss. Fireworks. It should have felt perfect. But I kept checking my phone. Ethan had texted at 11:59, Happy New Year. Proud of you. I didn't reply until morning. You too. Spring brought change. Ethan started community college classes. Got a job at a coffee shop. We met occasionally, platonic, careful. He respected boundaries. One afternoon in April, we walked a trail near the river. I've been thinking, he said, about us. If there's still an us to think about. I stopped. Ethan, I know you're with Marcus. I respect that. But if things change, if you ever want to try, I'll be here. No games. No rushing. Just me trying to be better. I looked at him, really looked. The boy I'd loved for years had grown into someone trying to deserve love. I don't know, I said honestly, but thank you for saying it. He smiled, small and sad. That's enough for now. Marcus noticed my distraction. We talked. I told him everything. He listened, then said, I love you, Alex. But I won't hold you if your heart's somewhere else. It broke me, because he was right. We ended things gently. No yelling, just tears and hugs. A week later, I showed up at Ethan's apartment. He opened the door, surprised. Can we talk? I asked. He stepped aside. Always. Inside, we sat on the couch. I took a breath. I ended things with Marcus. Not because of you, because I realized I wasn't all in. And I think I've been waiting for you to catch up. Ethan's eyes widened. Alex. But slow, I said. Really slow. We've got baggage. He nodded. As slow as you need. We didn't kiss that night. Just talked. Held hands. Started rebuilding. Summer again. This time different. Ethan and I dated quietly. Coffee dates. Walks. Movie nights with clear boundaries. No sleepovers yet. We talked about everything we'd avoided for years. He told me about the fear that had paralyzed him. The pressure from his dad to be a man. The way religion in his childhood home had twisted love into something shameful. I told him about my own silence. How I convinced myself friendship was enough. We fought sometimes. Old hurts surfaced, but we talked through them. One weekend in July, we went camping. Just us. Tent by a lake. No pool. No audience. Under stars, he said, I almost lost you forever. You almost did, I replied. He turned to me. I love you, Alex. Not as a best friend. As everything. I kissed him then, soft, tentative, real. It felt like coming home. But life isn't simple. Ethan's family struggled. His dad refused to acknowledge us. His mom tried, awkwardly. Mia was supportive. My mom welcomed him with open arms. We faced stares in public. Whispers. But we held hands anyway. Senior year started. We moved in together, small apartment near campus. Shared rent, shared chores, shared life. High points, graduation announcements. Late night talks. Lazy Sundays. Low points. A fight when Ethan relapsed briefly, drank at a party, panicked, called me crying. We got through it. Therapy. Trust rebuilt. Then the biggest test. Ethan's dad had a heart attack. Hospital vigil. Family gathered. His dad, weak in the bed, looked at us holding hands. I don't understand it, he said gruffly. But if you're happy, that's something. Not acceptance, but a crack in the wall. Ethan cried in the hallway. I held him. We graduated together. Caps and gowns. Photos with our families. Mine beaming, his tentative but present. After the ceremony, Ethan pulled me aside. Marry me, he asked. No ring yet. Just a question. I laughed through tears. One day, when we're ready. He grinned. I'll wait. Years passed. Not always easy, but ours. We moved to Seattle for better jobs, me in counseling, him in graphic design. Bought a small house with a yard. No pool. We laughed about that. We adopted a dog. Traveled. Fought. Made up. Ethan's dad softened over time. Invited us for holidays. Still awkward, but there. One evening in our living room, rain tapping the windows, Ethan turned to me. Remember the pool? I smiled. How could I forget? That day broke me open, he said, in the worst and best way. Forced me to face myself. Me too. He took my hand. I almost lost the best thing in my life because I was too scared to claim it. But you didn't. No, and I never will again. We kissed, slow, familiar, full of years. Life moved on. Friends came and went. Some accepted us, some didn't. We built our own family. And through it all, the lesson stayed. Love isn't always easy or clean. Sometimes it starts with pain, betrayal, silence. But when two people choose honesty, over and over, it can grow into something unbreakable. Personal reflection. Looking back, that summer afternoon by the pool wasn't just a betrayal. It was a brutal mirror. It forced both of us to confront what we'd hidden. Fear, shame, unspoken longing. The path afterward was messy, heartbreak, distance, relapse, family tension. But it taught me that real love doesn't erase pain. It walks through it. Growth comes from owning your mistakes, offering grace without forgetting, and choosing each other daily, even when it's hard. Ethan and I aren't perfect, but we're honest. And in a world quick to judge, that honesty feels like the quietest, strongest rebellion. If you're carrying secrets that weigh you down, speak them when you're ready. The right people will stay. The rest, they'll fade. And what's left is worth every scar.